New York City official Kushner firm flouted rules, endangered tenants. New York City councilman accused the Kushner family real estate company on Tuesday of putting tenants in danger by allowing several of its buildings to avoid safety inspections. New York Oversight Committee Chair Richie Torres said his investigation of the firm, once run by President Donald Trump's son-in-law, Jared Kushner, has been renting apartments to hundreds of tenants in 9 buildings with certificates of occupancy that expired months or years ago. Torres also said, but a city regulator that oversees landlords called the expired certificates cited by Torres and tenant watchdog group, Housing Rights Initiative, paperwork. Our top. The Kushner Cause said that the problems with the certificates stretch back to its previous owners. Certificates for similar. The city requires a certificate of occupancy whenever significant renovation is done, such as changing the layout of a building or of its fire exits. Most of the 9 the Kushner Cause was fined $210,000 by city regulators last year after an Associated Press report found that the company had submitted paperwork to regulators that claimed it had no low-paying, rent-stabilized tenants in dozens of its buildings when it, in fact, had hundreds. The false paperwork. The Kushner Cause has said that the paperwork was handled by another firm and mistakes were corrected when they came to its notice. Related video 111 with author of Kushner, Incorporated. Provided by ABC. The Wall Street Journal on Tuesday reported that the Kushners have hired a broker to sell 5 apartment buildings in the East Village as their company comes under public and media scrutiny. It is not clear. Jared Kushner stepped down as the head of his family firm 2 years ago to become a White House advisor. He still owns stake. At Tuesday's news conference, the head of Housing Rights Initiative said that many landlords, not just the Kushners, were flouting the rules and regulators need to crack down.
Raindrop, drop top smoking, no cooking the hot pot. Fucking on your bitch, yeah, that. Looking up, open the park pot.